Good morning. It is Friday, the 13th of June, 2025. Time, of course, is 10 past tomorrow. And I'm not going to ease into this one, but I will give you a heads up that it's a gnarly topic. I don't think it's one that we can shy away from, though, if we are responsibly considering AI and its effect on our people. So this is a story that's been all through the AI world over the past week. It is Dario Amodei, the CEO of Anthropic, who are the makers of Claude. He gave an interview a week ago saying that he believes that half of all entry-level white-collar jobs could disappear within 5 years. He's not talking about over a generation. He's not saying it'll happen gradually. He's saying that in 5 years, they will suddenly be gone, right? Now, the first thing to say is that Dario Amodei is the real deal. I will link you to the actual interview under this video so you can read it yourself. But in short, Dario, he was one of the original team who built the first generation of GPT technology back in 2017, the technology that has led directly to where we are today, sitting on the most powerful AI that's ever been built. So I know him to be incredibly smart, yes, but he's also, when you listen to him talk, he's wise, he's considered. He's generally pretty balanced in his views. He's not a sensationalist by nature, and I don't think that's what he's trying to do here with these comments. That's just not how I know him to work. The second thing I'd say is that you don't actually have to agree with these forecasts to know that the ground is shifting under you, right? The signs are already here. So if you're leading a company, or if you're even sitting anywhere near the leadership table, and if AI's widespread threat to jobs isn't already on your radar, I'm afraid to say you're behind in this conversation. Also, I don't want you, as you listen to this video, I don't want you just to label this as a theoretical risk that you're just going to file under like emerging tech trends. We are past that. So AI this is the Industrial Revolution's much quieter and much, much quicker sibling, cousin. It's not waiting for a formal invitation from any of us to disrupt the job market. It's here and it's doing it. So just to review, Dario Amodei, the CEO of Anthropic, is predicting 10 to 20% unemployment within 5 years, right? And I actually, yes, it's a warning, but I don't see this as just a warning. I actually see this as a measurement of where we're already heading, right? If you look at the pressure points, you can see graduate level unemployment and underemployment is already rising. Underemployment being graduates having to take jobs that they're vastly overqualified for. Entry level hiring freezes are becoming more common in companies. I think these anecdotes, there's enough of them now that they're becoming patterns, and those patterns are becoming signals. So if you'd like to examine those patterns and signals for yourself, below this video, I'm going to link you to a few articles and research, some from the New York Times, some from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, and some from LinkedIn's Chief Economic Opportunity Officer. Let me just give you a couple of sound bites from those articles, though. So LinkedIn's Chief Economic Opportunity Officer, Anish Raman, and let's acknowledge not many would have better data and trend analysis on this stuff than LinkedIn. He says, I liken this shift to the decline of manufacturing in the 1980s, but now it is our office workers who are staring down the same kind of technological and economic disruption. Breaking first is the bottom rung of the career ladder. That's the important part. Breaking first is the bottom rung of the career ladder. For example, AI tools are doing the types of simple coding and debugging tasks that junior software developers did to gain experience. AI is also doing work that young employees in the legal and retail sectors once did. And Wall Street firms are reportedly considering steep cuts to entry-level hiring. Meanwhile, the unemployment rate for college graduates has been rising faster than for other workers in the past few years, Raman pointed out. So then I'll jump to another article. Kevin Roos, the chief technology reporter from the New York Times, he wrote similarly last week, and this is quotes from his article. This month, millions of young people will graduate from college and look for work in industries that have little use for their skills. that view them as expensive and expendable and are rapidly phasing out their jobs in favor of AI. That is the troubling conclusion of my conversations over the past several months with economists, corporate executives, and young job seekers, many of whom pointed to an emerging crisis for entry-level workers that appears to be fueled, at least in part, by rapid advances in AI capabilities. You can see hints of this in the economic data. Unemployment for recent college graduates has jumped to an unusually high 5.8% in recent months, and the Federal Reserve Bank of New York recently warned that employment situation for these workers had deteriorated noticeably. Oxford Economics, a research firm that studies labour markets, found that unemployment for recent graduates was heavily concentrated in technical fields like finance and computer science, where AI has made faster gains. There are signs that entry-level positions are being displaced by AI at higher rates, the firm wrote in a recent report, that firm being Oxford Economics. But I'm convinced that what's showing up in the economic data, this is back to Kevin Roos, is only the tip of the iceberg. In interview after interview, I'm hearing that firms are making rapid progress toward automating entry-level work and that AI companies are racing to build virtual workers that can replace junior employees at a fraction of the cost. Corporate attitudes toward automation are changing too. Many firms are starting to encourage managers to become AI first, testing whether a given task can be done by AI before hiring a human to do it. And I profiled that in a recent video essay that I made that's directly referring to the CEO of Shopify and what he has come out to say. So this is back to me and my thoughts now. I think most leadership teams are unaware of this conversation, and even those that are aware of it are reacting, I see, with somewhat ambivalence, right? As if this 20% swing in employment that we're looking at is just another item for the monthly board agenda. So I don't think you or the business world needs more analysis of this. Well, not from me anyway. I think my job is just to give a shake of the shoulders about what is happening and how fast it is happening, and where companies, and most importantly, where humans will land in the fallout of this. So let me go back now a year in time and talk for a moment about OpenAI's 5-step path to AGI that they leaked. And again, I'll link you to that 5-step path to AGI below this video if you'd like to see it, and I recommend that you do, because it's a 5-step framework that they released which outlined basically the progression of AI capabilities that OpenAI plan to build on their path towards their mission of creating superintelligence. The levels that they laid out are level 1, chatbots, level 2, deep reasoners, level 3, agents, level 4, innovators, and level 5, AI organizations. So what they released was basically their internal roadmap to building increasingly capable and powerful and independent AI systems. And since they released that roadmap, Google and Anthropic followed pretty quickly within kind of a month afterwards and showed their own AGI roadmap. So we have all of them, and what they're effectively doing is they're openly, in public, sharing their plans with us of how they're building towards superintelligence. And they all look basically the same, which is, as I said, level 1 is chatbots. Now, we've had those in the world since ChatGPT hit the ground, right? We've ticked off level 1. Level 2, reasoners. So those are the AI models like the O series, O1 and now O3 from OpenAI, and the 2.5 Pro system from Google. Claude has theirs in their latest updates of Claude. So reasoners have been ticked off. They're already in the market. They're achieved. And we are on the cusp right now of level 3, which is agents, which are AI systems that take initiative. They have autonomy. You just set the objective for them, and they can work with controlled autonomy. They can use your computer. They can use the internet to achieve those objectives in the best ways that they have reasoned see fit, right? So AI agents are already running quite well, but they're not at the level that they can reliably be deployed to do meaningful work tasks at scale across businesses, right? But it's widely believed like within the AI world, the quote is 2025 is the year of the agent, right? So it's widely believed that agents will reach that point of being reliable enough to build business workflows on top of within the next 6 to 12 months. That's important because once we get to that point with AI agents, AI makes that jump from replying to us, like chatbots do, and or reasoning with us, like the reasoning systems do, to suddenly they'll be doing for us, right? And that will be a very important line that will jump over. That will be when it goes from AI disruption to what Dario Amodei, Kevin Roos, LinkedIn are talking about. It go from AI disruption to AI displacement, right? So once that happens, and agents will start to be embedded, they're already starting to be, but they'll be embedded into all of the mainstream tools that we're already using, like Microsoft and OpenAI and Google and Salesforce and HubSpot, etc. All the software that we already use will be agent run, right? And that's when the scales will tip, and they won't tip gently or they won't tip slowly. That's when suddenly, bang, we'll be at Amodei's forecast. And so that's why, to me, because we've seen these roadmaps, we've been given these roadmaps. None of this is speculative. It sounds more to me like a scheduled arrival of probable mass AI job displacement. And I want to say this does not make me happy. I'm not ecstatic about this. This flies directly in the face of one of my missions around AI, which is that AI enables humans, not replaces them. Okay, so with that, let me switch angles for a minute here and say, let's say you believe, you as a leader, you believe in a people-first strategy, like you really believe in it. I do, for one. I believe in people first and AI second. So if you're the same, you'll be sitting there and you'll be saying, look, I want AI to enhance, not replace my people. And that is super admirable, and I hope all business leaders have the same intentions with AI. But I actually see that it's going to become harder and harder to hold that line and that opinion when your competitors start replacing 40 jobs with 10 AI licenses and ahead of AI, right? Let me give you an example. EY, one of the largest professional services firms on the planet, they've recently stated, we could double revenue without expanding headcount. So that's their calibrated bet on agentic AI and workflow automation. So they don't necessarily intend, or they're not saying, they don't intend to cut people, but they don't intend to continue hiring them anymore either. And kind of scarily, that's what counts as optimism in this conversation, is these hiring freezes. We'll double revenue, but without expanding headcount. So what I'm saying here is, even if you do have a people-first ethos and strategy, I wonder what will you say to your board or your shareholders when they ask, okay, well, why are we still hiring humans when our competitors are quietly phasing them out? And that will be, the market will start to speak, and we know what pressure the market and financial forces put on leadership decisions, right? So right now, I think we've still got the ability to choose our direction, but I'm really clear on this. I can see a likely reality where the market won't wait for our values to catch up to their financial incentives. So I think the reality is, unfortunately, there's no clean or smooth way to approach this mass transition of probable displaced workers in the coming years, right? It may give you some heart, though, to know that there's at least a conversation within the AI world happening around this. So one of the things I'll bring to your attention is, I've heard it suggested that we need a company tax on AI, kind of like a payroll tax for AI labor or AI agents that would scale up based on your company's AI usage. And this wouldn't be put in place, it's not being suggested as a punishment, but as a mechanism to make business leaders stop and at least consider some direct financial cost that would be in place if they were replacing people with AI. The tax would also have a secondary use in that it would be used to fund the societal cost, giving the government means to help out with this rapid and huge job displacement, to create a publicly funded pool for mass retraining, re-employment, or even UBI. So that's all well and good at the macro level. At the moment, that is very much speculative conversation, but whenever this theme about possible mass AI job displacement comes up, I get asked what should like the everyday business and leaders be doing to plan for it. So my first advice is you're going to have to talk about this. Talk to your teams, talk to your clients, talk to your board, and I recommend that you start those conversations now. Certainly, please do not wait to have those conversations with your people until after you've rolled something out, like an AI roadmap or an AI usage policy. If you do it about face like that, the questions start, the concerns start from your people. So your employees need to know what you're trying to do, how you're measuring AI's risk to jobs within the company, and what protections you are considering to put in place around that. So and I understand this is easier said than done, but it's my recommendation that if you foresee that roles will be changing within the organization, say so. If you're not there yet, if you're still working it out, then just admit that and be transparent. I think you'll earn more trust through openness around this conversation than through delaying and waiting till you've got polished talking points. I could even see if these conversations are well managed and they're ongoing around AI and its impact on jobs, companies that are doing those conversations well, I could see them becoming a strategic advantage to the point that employees would actually stay with those companies or jump ship to be with them if leadership are articulating an AI strategy and how it will affect jobs. So I think transparent conversations will be about establishing credibility on this topic. I believe it's about to start to become a mainstream topic in conversation, this AI's effect on jobs. And so I think leaders are going to need plenty of that credibility and transparency in the next few years. When it comes to, what is your stance on AI and jobs? And then my second advice is to get started with AI agents, because as I've said, they're not perfect, they're not robust right now, today. But if you want to be able to evolve with them as they continue to get better, you do need to start with them today. So I'd recommend find your AI power users within the company. For those of you who've done training and done programs with me, they'll be within your AI councils that you've formed. Find those power users and give them permission to try AI agents. Let them make mistakes with those agents safely and even reward them for doing so, because that's how you are going to learn what is likely to scale with agents within your organization and what won't. Because you're not going to get this insight into how AI is going to displace or disrupt jobs in your organization just by having a strategy offsite day about this. It will only come from real tangible experiments that generate genuine, pragmatic use cases relevant to your people and your business. So I understand this particular video has gone on longer than I usually like to make them, but this is important it's important to me, it's important to all of us. It's my hope that through universal people-first governance and leadership, that we as a society don't use this next chapter of AI, the agentic chapter, to downsize and call it efficiency. I know, unfortunately, many companies will, right? Microsoft themselves released 14,000 people 2 weeks ago to be replaced with AI. But I think that approach will completely miss the opportunity, and we as society, we're only going to get one shot at this entry into the agentic chapter, to balance efficiency with a sincere and genuine prioritization of people. So it's my hope that instead, through good governance and leadership, we treat this as a mass workforce redesign. I hope that, and there's kind of some evidence to suggest it's happening from companies doing this with a considered approach. I hope that we can transition our junior roles from just being manual gopher roles into more valuable and rewarding strategic roles for juniors. I hope that we can create more or new positions in our companies around things like AI oversight, AI ethics, human and AI collaboration, and client relationship roles where the human nuance still matters. I hope we can put emphasis on those type of roles. And I hope that our governance and leadership goals aren't to optimize headcount, and that instead we focus around building a strategy for reskilling our people that are tied to your actual operations and your people. So I'm wrapping up now, and I will just say there's no slow mode left. That's not an option anymore. We're certainly well past the point of that cute, reassuring saying that you've probably heard, AI won't take your job, but someone with AI might. That is outdated, and it gives a really false sense of security that the technology it's just obliterating that saying right in front of our eyes. So please, I would like us to retire that saying, because AI agents aren't coming, they're here, and they're getting better really fast. I think we've got a 2 to 3 year window here. I think the companies that adapt over this next 2 to 3 years will at least have a chance to shape their own playbook about what AI means for their people and those jobs, right? After this 2 to 3 years, I think the ones that haven't evolved will just get steamrolled. I can't even sugarcoat it and say that they will just be playing catch up anymore. So I hope that you get the urgency in my voice about this topic, everyone. Yes, I believe we still have agency, but I don't think we have the luxury of a long timeline anymore. So I know this isn't a cheerful theme to discuss, but I do believe it's a super important one that we do discuss. I'll look forward to your comments here on this blog page or on my LinkedIn page. And I promise I have a rosier AI topic for next week's video. I promise you that. See you then.